Charles A. Lindbergh, the aviator's shadowed legacy. Charles I. Lindbergh, celebrated for his solo transatlantic flight in 1927, remains an iconic figure in aviation history. Yet, his life and views harbored controversies that often clashed with his public persona. This video delves into 10 of the most scandalous and intriguing facts about Lindbergh, revealing the complexities of a man who was not only a pioneering aviator but also a figure of significant contradictions. Fact number 1. Childhood curiosity and early flying ambitions. Born in Detroit, Michigan, on February 4, 1902, Charles Lindbergh moved with his family to Little Falls, Minnesota, where he spent much of his childhood. His father, Charles August Lindbergh, was a U.S. congressman, which also brought the family to Washington, D.C., for periods of time. Lindbergh's fascination with flight was sparked early in his life after witnessing a barnstormer pilot perform in Little Falls, an event that profoundly influenced his aspirations. This experience instilled in him a deep curiosity about aviation, leading him to dream of flying among the clouds. Dropping out of the College of Engineering at the University of Wisconsin after just 2 years, Lindbergh moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, in 1922, where he attended the Nebraska Aircraft Corporation's flying school. It was here that Lindbergh first took to the skies, performing wing-walking stunts and parachuting exhibitions. By 1924, Lindbergh had enrolled in the United States Army Air Service's flight training program at Brooks Field in San Antonio, Texas, where he graduated the following year as the top pilot in his class and received his military pilot's wings along with a commission as a second lieutenant in the Air Service Reserve. Number 2. The historic flight. On May 20, 1927, Charles Lindbergh took off from Roosevelt Field in New York aboard the Spirit of St. Louis, a custom-built, single-engine, single-seat monoplane, embarking on what would become the first solo nonstop transatlantic flight. After 33.5 hours of flight, covering a distance of approximately 3,600 miles, Lindbergh successfully landed at Le Bourget Field near Paris on May 21. This monumental achievement not only earned him the $25,000 Wardiate Prize but also made him an instant worldwide celebrity. The Spirit of St. Louis was designed specifically for this flight, emphasizing fuel efficiency and distance capability over comfort. Lindbergh's decision to fly solo without a navigator or a co-pilot was driven by his desire to maximize the fuel load and thereby the aircraft's range. His successful landing in Paris was greeted by an ecstatic crowd of more than 100,000 people, marking a pivotal moment in aviation history and earning Lindbergh the nickname Lone Eagle. Number 3. Isolationist Stance pre-World War II. In the years leading up to World War II, Charles Lindbergh became a prominent figure in the non-interventionist America First Committee, advocating strongly against American involvement in the European conflict. Despite his heroic status as an aviator, his political stance during this period drew significant criticism, particularly due to speeches that were perceived as sympathetic to Nazi Germany and contained anti-Semitic undertones. Lindbergh's most controversial speech, delivered in Des Moines, Iowa, on September 11, 1941, accused the British, the Roosevelt administration, and the Jewish population of leading America into the war for their own interests. This speech, in particular, led to widespread condemnation, tarnishing his reputation among a significant portion of the American public. Despite his contributions to aviation and his prior status as an American hero, Lindbergh's political views during this time alienated many, casting a shadow over his legacy. Number 4. Alleged sympathies with Nazi Germany. Charles I. Lindbergh's interactions with Nazi Germany during the 1930s have been a source of enduring controversy. His visit to Germany in 1938, at the invitation of the American embassy, allowed him to inspect the Luftwaffe, German Air Force, where he was impressed by the advancements in aviation technology. On October 18, 1938, Lindbergh was awarded the Service Cross of the German Eagle by Hermann Göring, one of Hitler's top officials, in recognition of his contributions to aviation. This event occurred during a period of escalating tensions in Europe and just before the outbreak of World War II, casting a shadow over Lindbergh's reputation. Despite Lindbergh's insistence that his interests in Germany were purely related to aviation and not political, his acceptance of the medal from a high-ranking Nazi official has been interpreted by many as an endorsement of the regime, further complicating his legacy. Number 5. The Lindbergh baby kidnapping. The kidnapping of Charles Lindbergh Jr., the 20-month-old son of Charles and Mara Lindbergh, on the night of March 1, 1932, from their home in Hopewell, New Jersey, shocked the nation. A ransom note demanding $50,000 was found at the scene, leading to a series of communications between the kidnappers and the Lindbergh family. Despite the payment of the ransom, the child's body was discovered on May 12, 1932, in a wooded area not far from the Lindbergh home, having died from a blow to the head. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was arrested in September 1934 after a ransom bill was traced back to him. Hauptmann was convicted of the kidnapping and murder in February 1935 and executed on April 3, 1936. The case, dubbed the crime of the century, received massive public attention and led to the enactment of the Lindbergh Law, which made kidnapping a federal offense. Number 6. Innovations in aviation and medical technology. Charles Lindbergh's contributions to technology extended beyond aviation. In collaboration with French surgeon Alexis Carrel, Lindbergh developed the perfusion pump, a device that could maintain organs outside of the body in a viable state. This innovation was a precursor to the heart-lung machine used in open-heart surgery today. Their work, which began in the early 1930s, aimed to extend the life of organs during surgery, demonstrating Lindbergh's wide-ranging interests and intellect. Despite his fame as an aviator, Lindbergh's role in the development of this critical medical technology is less well known but remains a significant part of his contribution to science and medicine. Number 7. Secret families in Europe. Charles Lindbergh's life took a surprising turn when it was revealed that he had fathered children with 3 different women in Europe while still married to Mara Lindbergh. These relationships, with Brigitte Hessheimer, her sister Marietta Hessheimer, and Valeska, were maintained in strict secrecy for decades, only coming to light in the early 2000s after Lindbergh's death. Between them, Lindbergh fathered 7 children, Dyrk, Astrid, and David with Brigitte, Christoph and Maria with Marietta, and 2 more children with Valeska, whose names have not been widely publicized. The children with Brigitte Hessheimer were born between 1958 and 1967, indicating that these relationships overlapped with his marriage to Anne. The revelation of these secret families added a complex layer to Lindbergh's legacy, showing a side of his personal life that was previously unknown and deeply private. Number 8. Antisemitic remarks. In a speech delivered on September 11, 1941, in Des Moines, Iowa, Charles Lindbergh made comments that have since been widely criticized for their anti-Semitic implications. He suggested that the Jewish population was among the groups pushing the United States toward involvement in World War II for their own interests. This speech, given under the auspices of the America First Committee, an isolationist group that Lindbergh was prominently involved with, sparked immediate controversy. Lindbergh's assertions in this speech and others contributed to a significant tarnishing of his reputation, as many viewed his statements as not only anti-Semitic but also un-American by opposing the fight against Nazi Germany. Number 9. Environmental advocacy. In his later years, Charles Lindbergh became a vocal advocate for environmental conservation, a cause that grew from his profound distress over the ecological destruction he observed around the world. His advocacy work took him to various parts of the globe, where he campaigned for the protection of endangered species and natural habitats. Lindbergh's environmental efforts were in partnership with organizations such as the World Wildlife Fund, showcasing a redemptive aspect of his life focused on preserving the natural world. This commitment to conservation highlighted a significant shift from his earlier achievements in aviation, reflecting his deep connection to the planet and its diverse ecosystems. Number 10. Advancements in commercial aviation. Beyond his historic 1927 solo transatlantic flight, Charles Lindbergh played a key role in the development of commercial aviation. Working as a technical advisor for Pan American Airways, Lindbergh was instrumental in establishing new international flight routes, including the pioneering of the first transatlantic mail service. His efforts in surveying and recommending air routes directly contributed to the expansion and globalization of air travel, making it more accessible to the general public. Lindbergh's work with Pan American Airways during the 1930s and beyond helped lay the foundations for the modern commercial aviation industry, demonstrating his lasting impact on the field beyond his early days as an aviator.